The doctor says, "Wow,
Hello,
you never
oh,
had to pull one
no,
of those
no,
out."
no, we're not doing that again. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the anime podcast for Outpost 1018 for May of 2025. I am Neo Tokyo Tempo. Everyone else in
Hermits.
This is
Baron.
Baron, also known as RJ.
Neko here.
Slowest or Striker Red. And, well, another month, another anime.
Yep. So for this month, or it's been a few months. We watched Record of Lodoss War. Now, Record of Lodoss War is an OVA from 1990, in which the world of Lodoss was created after the final battle of the gods, and that that's sort of the backstory of the world. But the main thing is that there is this young man named Parn, whose father was a soldier. He sort of wishes to follow in his father's footsteps and serve and serve the king and whatnot. But at first he's really not a good fighter. He's pretty naive. He's pretty gung ho about everything. And it's sort of it's both the story about him slowly becoming a great warrior with a lot of renown, and it's also a story about the what's her face? What's the witch's name?
Carla.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No, the-
It focuses on him and Deedlit, the elf, but the blonde elf, the high elf. But Carla is also one of the focuses because she's one of the original heroes that fought in the God of the War, the War of the Gods.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. So, so yeah, that's the sort of basic premise of Record of Lodoss War. It is how many episodes was it? 13 episodes. And yeah, I was personally like especially like right when it opened up, has the sequence where the which happens somewhat later in the story, where the main character is the main party. It's kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons party. You have you have the rogue, you have you have the your casters and whatnot, and you have your warrior. But anyway, they're sort of raiding this dungeon, and they fight a dragon. I was immediately struck by just by like how much contrast there was, like how fluid everything was, and the sort of really really jagged and sort of angular art style, very with very bold lines all over everything and very detailed backgrounds. And I knew I was looking at a very high quality production as far as like the animation goes.
Yeah, I
And,
remember you personally suggested this one.
Yeah, I did. I personally suggested it after I watched a couple episodes of it. I thought it was going to be a good one for the podcast. But anyway,
Boy, were you correct though, because the thing is, right after we review it, we're gonna go into the trivia, cool stuff about it. I'm just gonna say, this anime definitely influenced a lot of stuff. Anything ranging from friggin' Legend of Zelda to all the way to Dark Souls, because like the knights with the knights that were like riding on dragons, I'm like, I saw that, and I'm just like, oh my god, that looks like the kind of stuff that like the gods soldiers would wear in Dark Souls, like Ornstein, for example. Anywho, let's get to it.
Oh, I saw a lot of the
Yeah.
same influences to Fire Emblem too. So it's definitely very widespread as far as that goes.
Yeah, it's very the sort of art style that has is very similar to a lot of 90s Japanese fantasy stuff, whether it be from anime or 90s video games. Um, and you can see that in the animation. You can see that in the music as well. As a very, it does have a very like Final Fantasy esque vibe. Um, and it's quite it you can definitely see why. 'Cause everything is quite striking in the visual department. There, especially for the time. Uh, there there isn't really much that looks things look archetypical for fantasy stories, but nothing looks like really generic. Everything really seems to have like its own character to it.
Well, considering the budget and like the original light novel, which came out like what is it, 88 or something, all the way to like 2003.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
88.
sorry, 1903, 93. And the guy who was doing the art is like Yukata Yusubuchi. I mean, he's the guy who made he's the guy who directed and created Rexaphon of all things. It's like,
Ah, a friend of mine told me. A friend of mine told me about that one because
yeah,
he's also
like,
into old school anime as well.
oh yeah, he did the Gravity Days design as well. Gravity Rush, um, Pet Labor, Yamato, the you know, uh, Shangri-La, all a bunch of stuff. His latest one actually is Metal Rouge, which is, I mean, he did design for mech, so and that's excused, I guess. But the story is, at least a not light novel, is by the guy. What's his name? Rui Mizuno. He's the guy who, is Tria's guy. So he did Galaxy Angel, or at least was involved in that thing, and he worked on, was it Infinite Discovery, and then, like a bunch of other things.
Hmm.
It's like his
So
latest thing is what is it? Grandson Senki, which is the record of Grandson War, which is very close to actually what we see here. Albeit less dragons and more chicks, but hey, the time have changed.
I gotta jump in and be like, the black dragon with the red eyes, like it straight up reminds me of the one from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, it's yeah, that dragon's a very very incredible dragon design. You can definitely see a lot of people either taking inspiration from it or they might have seen something else that was very similar.
I really like the dragon design as well because my god, some of these went hard, and I mean hard in a sense that damn, they were brilliant, especially the one with the 5 dragons.
You mean all of them are like dude bros, effectively, of the show?
Yeah, yeah, especially and then you can.
If you think about it, there's 2 evil dragons and the other dragons are good. The evil dragons are Shooting Star, the red one that really likes to attack people for no reason, and then you got the black one, Nars, who's like straight up he's just there to wait for the day that the evil goddess gets resurrected so he can guard her temple. He's just sleeping there. Like, yeah, I'm not going to get up or wake up or do anything or set anybody on fire, but God forbid anybody interrupt the resurrection of which one was it? Was it Cardis? Goddess.
Yeah, it was Cardis. Yeah, it was Cardis.
Wait, which color are we talking about now?
Nars.
No, it.
Before we make any more dragon jokes. Anyway, so let's move forward. All right, review wise, what do we all think?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is very good. It's one of to me it's like it's one of my already having only watched it once. It's one of my favorite 90s shows, and I've seen quite a lot of 90s shows, so that is saying something.
Whoa.
So let's do the review one by one. We're gonna talk about the score first. I'm gonna put out the average, and then we're gonna talk about trivia before we head out for the night. All right. So who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Lewis.
All right. I was actually funny thing about that. I was watching it with a friend of mine on Kick. And we were watching the Japanese stuff first, and then afterwards, last night I was watching the English stuff. The stuff that how should I say this? The origin story of the series itself. How this was basically a homebrew for a D&D session because Rio was basically a dungeon master himself, and the fact and all the world building that went into making this series. I'll be honest when I say Rio Mizuno has my respect for
Yeah, no,
well
that's
for this.
but
Yeah.
I would say like let's give our scores first and then explain
Yeah.
why.
Okay.
Then
My
it's an organic conversation. But go ahead.
yeah. Okay. So in my case, it's gonna be a 7.5 because I had a great time watching the series itself. I I'll be honest when I say I do like me some old school fantasy. I mean, I've watched stuff like Dune, Conan, and I mean Conan the Barbarian, and the like. And this is right up my alley. Man, the characters were pretty good, especially especially Eto and Deedlit, because those two did the best work. Parm legit reminds me a bit of Link from Zelda. And for obvious reasons, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ryo Mizuno also got some inspiration for not only Zelda but also from Dragon Quest as well. Because let's be honest when I say that a lot of these games are inspired by Dungeons and Dragons into the core, and that's saying something. That is a positive actually, because of how much D&D actually influenced a lot on this series. Why do I think it's a 7.5? Uh, it's not exactly like the plot. Let's be honest, the plot is great, but it's not exactly nothing to write home about. Especially when you consider what it is. Basically, boy grows into a farm. He wants to save the world. He gets the girl, and so on. It's very predictable. The I would say the fights were actually pretty. The fights were okay for what they were. The series itself, well, I would say that the voice actors did pretty good for the most part. The thing is, some of them threw me off like crazy because of the like for example, King Cashew. The guy was like the guy's attack was very awkward. Like the dude was screaming. I don't know. I don't know how to explain he's screaming, but it was ridiculous at that point. It was really cheesy. I mean, it was your typical 1990s Japanese. It was your typical 1990s English dub. I was watching dub, and that's
1 second, Striker. Remember
yeah.
what you're gonna say. So
Yes.
next, I'm gonna ask Neko what his score is. I'm gonna keep. I just want the score first.
Yeah.
A short explanation of why, and then we're gonna talk trivia. So and
I
the
got
stuff
you.
we're talking about right now.
I got you, bro. Echo, get over here.
Me?
Yeah.
I'll give it 8. I mean, look, for all of the basic stuff this anime does, it does it perfectly. Now, it's not the best thing ever. That said, have we seen any other better shows than that? I mean, the only thing I see is the Chaos Dragon, which is like from 2015, and that thing was a mess. So 8.8 out of 10.
All right. Well, it looks like you're on.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Neko here. I think it's a solid 8 out of 10, and for similar reasons. It's not it doesn't necessarily set the world on fire per se. It's not like absolutely revolutionary or the most original thing ever. And it's not even necessarily particularly complex. It's a story with very archetypal characters and a very basic plot, but like what it does when it pulls off the plot very well. The characters are very likable. You really get into Parn's struggle, and the relationship he has with Deedlit uh ends up being interesting, and even though it's not like it's not like super deep, you still like the people. They seem to have very genuine chemistry, so it ends up being it ends up doing quite a lot with only a little. And yeah, it's just very solid. So yeah, 8 out of 10.
I guess Hermit's next.
Yeah, I guess for me it's like a kind of a 6.5 because I don't know. Like I found all of the I found all the stuff around the anime really nice. The characters, the animation was all really good, but the plot kind of didn't really hook me, and the world did feel kind of generic to me. But I that goes you have to go with the caveat that I am very I much prefer sci-fi over fantasy. And when it comes to fantasy, I prefer stuff that's kind of less grandiose than this. So yeah, it's I thought it was okay, but I wasn't super amazed with it either. So kind of middling.
So you prefer Star Ocean over D&D, basically?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
high fantasy is just not really my thing.
yeah.
I
Okay.
prefer like either grounded fantasy or fantasy with a twist, like industrial elements being added in, or like yeah, industrial fantasy is a big one.
Okay.
Like say Valkyria Chronicles would be, I guess, the
Oh,
example of that.
so good. So good.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump in. Okay, my score is 8.5. I was gonna give it an 8 until I looked more into the series and I kind of rethought the score I was gonna give it. Um, just because of the sheer influence it has over other media, I threw in the 0.5 because it gained my respect. Because like, here's the thing: there was another series that I initially watched and I liked, and now I kind of like it, but not really. Overlord. That was also based on a D&D campaign. But the thing is, like, that's more recent. However, this one's older. This one's also based on, they're both based on D&D campaigns. But this one straight up, like, created multiple series. Not just through books, not just through manga, not just through the games, but quite literally multiple shows. And that alone kind of took me off guard because I'm like, oh, cool. There's Legend of Christania and the other one, and it turns out no, Sword World is also based off of this. And here's a one more tidbit. The latest thing with this is a continuation of the game. There's a Steam game which takes place 100 years after the anime. and then that ties into the manga, which just came out like a couple years ago, and it took 10 years to produce because the writer was kind of deciding whether or not he wanted to continue it. Anyways, I really liked the music. It did get a little generic from time to time, like the action scenes.
Yeah.
But other than that, I like the music. I like the art style. I like the world building. I give it 8.5, and I believe. Let me do the average. So 7.5 from Lewis, 8 from Neko, 8 from Will, right?
Yep.
And then how much was it from Hermit?
6.5.
Okay, and then mine is 8.5, and the machine says our average is 7.7. Okay.
That's slightly higher than the IMDb score because the scores on my anime list are 7.32, and in the case of IMDb, it's 7.5. So pretty much my score resonates with the one from IMDb.
Nice. And as per usual, our scores are close enough to the general score of the consensus.
Like, it's not a bad score. I'll be honest. I had a great time watching this one. It had a couple of things that they irritated a little bit, but it's nothing too trivial. It was related to the soundtrack. For example, the random ding 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 when a keyboard note when the attack with fight scene was on. I was like, that actually annoyed me a bit. Seriously, like, what the hell was that? And then there was also the fact that the outcome with one of the characters. Well, I'll put down trivia, but go ahead. If anyone else wants to chime in, go ahead.
Well, I just want to jump in and say, just so the listeners know, and like I already mentioned to you guys before we started, this is considered an alternate timeline or just an alternate take because in the original books, for example, the Berserker dies when they're fighting Shooting Star. The battle at Firetop Mountain, I think that was Firetop Mountain.
Yeah, it was Firetop.
Which is different from what we got. What we got was he survives to the very end. He agrees with his sort of girlfriend who has a thing for Parn, but Parn doesn't like her back. He agrees with her that they're going to stay and protect Valis. Which, oh yeah, I found that funny. Valis is the name of the kingdom, the main kingdom, where Parn's father used to be a knight. And it's also the name of a game series that Will and I like, Valis. It's
Yeah.
yeah, so like the two of them agreed that they're gonna stay with the remaining cast, the ones who haven't died. Like a couple people die. If you're gonna watch it by yourself, maybe I shouldn't mention, but yeah, the remaining cast members stay behind except for Parn and Deedlit. Like the images you're seeing right now with him on the horse with Deedlit behind him, like that's from the intro, but that happens at the very end. He rides off into the sunset with his girlfriend, effectively. And even though Kashu says, like, "Are you sure you're gonna leave?" He just says, just promise that, you'll be back when we need it, when we need you to fight for us. And, basically he says, of course I will. But he basically says, like, I don't really want a fancy ceremony. I just want to leave. And there's a direct sequel to this. I believe it's, is it the Legend of the Heroic Knight or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. But we got to watch that at some point, maybe. Anywho. But yeah, it just ties into that, and then it goes on. There's an offshoot story, and then there's the game. There's the one on Steam. There's also like other games in this series, but the one in Steam is significant because it takes place 100 years after, and it shows that Deedlit and Parn were very much in love. but he's human. She's an elf. He dies of old age. She
So no
falls.
kids.
She falls. Yeah, exactly. Also, low birth rate between the two species. And
Oh.
she falls into a deep depression. And the continuation is that the latest manga, is there's a new hero, and she becomes his apprentice. I'm sorry, he becomes her apprentice. He seeks her out, and she's in self exile because she's miserable over Parn's death. But she comes to terms when the game ends, and that's when the manga starts. Because then the boy seeks her out and says, "Hey, I need your help. There's a new threat. None of us know how to face it. You're like a legendary hero." Blah blah blah. But yeah, like the people who created this put a lot of thought into it. It wasn't just, hey, here's some quirky characters with, the typical personality types in every friggin' anime. You know the type. Like I love Demon Slayer. You have no idea how much I love Demon Slayer. But at the end of the day, everybody jokes about the personality types. Like, oh, you got the loud one, the hot one, the mean one, and you get what I mean. Like every character in that show, or Jujutsu Kaisen, both are great.
Yeah.
But the characters are archetypes. They're not really fleshed out. You know what I mean?
It's like the one-dimensional. Is that what we're assuming?
Well,
Like
I mean,
at first glance, you might think of that about Lodoss, but then if you like go into the deeper lore, it's actually interesting. I mean, like you got some generic stuff like Ashram. You find out Ashram, the Black Knight, he had a childhood friend that betrays him named Owen, of all things. And then you find that the twist is, Owen is actually in league with the people that killed his father, and then they try to kill Beld, and then even though Ashram was hired to kill Beld, he has a change of heart. And now he's working with Beld. Like that's a little like two-dimensional, but that's his backstory. Whereas his actual character is pretty fucking cool. Like his whole shtick is he wants to be a ruler, and then he's like growing as a person. Even though it's 13 episodes, but he learns to love someone. You know what I mean?
Okay, if anyone's curious, the name of the game is Record of Lodoss War, Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. And the game itself was actually developed under the supervision of Ryo Mizuno himself. Yes. Ryo Mizuno himself actually oversaw the development of this game. As they should.
The one that ties into the manga. And it makes sense, right? Because he wrote the manga. Might as well, watch over the game that leads to it.
He wrote the books too. I mean, this guy's, like I said, he's actually a dungeon master himself. As a matter of fact, this is an offshoot of Dungeons and Dragons campaign in Japan, and as such, it actually spawned into its own series of books that were actually replays of the campaigns. There's actually 2 more games, but the thing is, both of them came out on the PC Engine and the Mega CD. There was actually one on the Sega Dreamcast called Abbot of Cardis, and there was actually so basically it came on several PC platforms regarding the first one, Hajiro no Majo on the PC 98, the MSX, the CX 68,000, the Windows 95 in 1988.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of games on there that people in the U.S. didn't get direct access. So you'd had to have imported them, and even then, like that, it's like a niche within a niche, you know.
Dude, I'm reading this right now. There was actually a closed beta card game called Record of Lodoss War: Successor of the Legend. And it shut down in 2014. Another one is an MMORPG called Record of Lodoss War Online. That one was shut down in 2019 and 2024 in South Korea and Japan. Global wise, yeah, uh, yeah. After the 2019 shutdown, it was actually released. It was actually region locked in South Korea and Japan. Okay, what else? So I'm reading the Wikipedia. It says here that the novel series itself has sold over 10 million copies in Japan alone. 10 million copies. That's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. So there are two. There are two related. So Legend of Christiania and Rule Soldier are actually related because, well, both of them are actually made by the same guy. Rune Soldier is actually a more comedic version of Record of Lodoss. It's actually based on the world of Record of Lodoss War, but in the Alacraz continent. That was more of a comedy spin-off. Legend of Christiania, that's the other one.
Oh yeah,
That's where.
They have one where the main character, and I thought that was a cool little switcheroo, because if you notice the heroes party and the anti-villain party, I call them anti-villain because the main villain was Cardus manipulating.
Yes.
Like the anti-villain party, which was originally led by Beld, after he gets killed, Ashram takes the reign. If you notice, they kind of reflected the heroes party. They had the dark elf who was in love with the knight.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah. And they I think is it Legend of Christiania? It's one of them where they're in a new land.
It is in fact that one. That's the one with Partes and Ashram.
It's not the heroic knight, is it?
No, it says here. No, it actually focuses on Christiania, where Ashram and Partes migrated after the Law series.
Yeah. So, like, what's the subtext of the name though? Because I know there's two. Isn't there two Legends of Christianias?
No, the one I'm checking out is the media. I'm checking out the media franchise itself regarding Legend of Christiania.
Because I know, like, they have one where it primarily focuses on Sharu. That's Perotessa's other name. And, like,
yes,
she's trying to save Ashram because he's been possessed by this beast god. He's like this like evil entity that, like, takes him over in order to basically wreak havoc in the world. And like the new land they enter has all these issues where, like, there's conflict between humans and beasts and stuff like that. They even get warned when they come into the land, like, this is not meant for humanoids. Leave. Like, if you look human, go. But I thought that was cool. Like, they did a flip around, a switcheroo where they're focusing on the anti-villains party and their journey because, like, they kind of, like, even though, like, they're not good guys, they're not evil either. And
they're in a gray area.
Yeah, they're in a gray area, though they do make some selfish decisions. But, like, eventually they just look for a new homeland where they don't have to deal with BS. And yeah, I thought that was neat. Like, they kind of, like, the story continued, like, in both directions and then some. Like, it shows us what happens to Parn. It shows us what happens to the people of Marmo, the land that Ashram was sent to as a kid. It shows us what happens to the anti-villains party. So we see how the world goes forward, and then we see how the heroes and the anti-villains go forward. Like that's dedication right there, you know?
Indeed. So speaking of, let me throw this real quick. We're on the trivia part, right? So episodes 1 to 8 of the series, and I got this from IMDb last night. 1.8 of the first 8 episodes of the series were actually based on the first original novel of Record of Lodoss War, called The Grey Witch. There are also graphic novels and manga by the same title based on this original novel available from CPM Manga. Episodes 9 to 13 are loosely based on the original novels 3, 4, 6, 7 in the Lodoss War series. the story developed in these last episodes is unique to the animated series from the original story Mizuno-san developed. Yeah, the last episodes, yeah, those were animation exclusive. I just
Really?
realized. Yeah.
Oh.
The later animated series Record of Lodoss War Chronicles of the Heroic Knight follows the original novels and corrects the record starting after the end of episode 8 of the series.
So wait. Don't tell me. Okay. Don't tell me Par never, got with the thing.
No. Were you not paying hold on. Were you not paying attention?
I'm sorry. I'll just.
He got with her.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
canonically, they ended up staying together. Okay, hold on a second. The whole reason she's depressed, and we get the premise of the game, is literally he dies of old age, and she just can't handle the loss. But my point being, I wanted to jump in and say, yeah, so Orson, or a lot of people in the comment sections of the wiki and other places, they're rightfully pissed that the berserker they encounter, the two mercenaries, the redhead chick and the berserker.
Yeah, Sherry's and Orson.
Yeah, like Orson's death pissed off a lot of people. So the fact in the later episodes he ends up surviving instead of dying like in the original text, like that's the biggest difference I know of. There's a cool one. In the books, Kashu kills Beld. He cheats. Because he's pissed at Beld for killing Fawn. He runs up, and while Beld is like recovering from because you saw like they had like a Obi-Wan Kenobi Darth Vader duel, two older guys with swords clashing, and they end up injuring each other, but Beld ends up killing Fawn. While Beld is recovering from that, Kashu runs up and beheads him.
Dude.
And in the story, some of the people thought that was cowardly. They're like, "Hey, that's not fair. Like you ran up right after the duel." But he didn't care because in his eyes, he just wanted like the peace of the land, even if it meant being underhanded. Because that's the whole point. He was originally a mercenary before he became the king of his land.
Dude, now that you mention it, it does remind it. You know what? That one fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan, I can definitely think that there's parallels with this one, because in the case of
hold on, before you go into it,
yeah,
I'm talking about A New Hope when both of them are old and they're just going back and forth. They're still strong, but they're going back and forth. I didn't mean episode 3. I meant episode 4. But go ahead.
Yeah.
If you strike me down, I will become even more powerful than you can ever imagine.
Yes, sir.
In this case, if you strike me down, Han Solo will run up and cut your head off.
Hell yeah, dude! The crazy thing is, well, how they develop? Like, one day these guys are allies, and the next they're enemies. Because that one witch decided, yeah, I am not going to let these motherfuckers have the power that they have.
Yeah, Carla.
No.
The whole thing with Carla is, it's later revealed that she was fully aware of Cardus's influence, because was it Vogron? What was his name? The bull haircut. In front of his hair was a bowl cut.
Vognard.
Like, Vognard was secretly manipulating things from behind the scenes, especially with Beld gone. He was manipulating Ashram, and then it turns out, he's also being manipulated by the sleeping goddess, the goddess of destruction, and the whole point was, she's using him to get resurrected, and then when she gets resurrected, she's going to kill everybody, because that's basic. She's the embodiment of destruction itself. So,
yeah, basically, his services were no longer needed after that.
Yeah, and Ashram tried warning him, and he's like, "No, it's not true. It's not true. You don't talk like that about my lady. Don't talk like that about my queen." and he's like, "You're an idiot if you think the goddess of destruction has chosen you to be her representative on the planet." But yeah, so like Carla knew all that, and her take was, well, if either side wins, someone's gonna get possessed and manipulated. So let's just have both sides decimate each other, which pissed off Wart. Wart was one of the other former heroes from the Battle of the Gods. So just explain what the Battle of the Gods was. Anybody listening? There was a battle between the light gods and the dark gods, and there were heroes that were on the side of the light gods. Beld was one of them. Fawn was one of them. Carla was one of them. There's a handful of other ones, including Lelia's mother. Lelia's the girl that Carla's possessing at the beginning. Her mother was actually one of the heroes as well, I think.
Yeah, she was. She was actually.
Was Gim one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that explains the dwarf in the mural. Yeah, so like you have these heroes, and then you have the War of the Heroes, which is when Beld and Fawn ended up fighting because of Carla's manipulations. But you remember what Carla said to Parn when she was casting that illusion into his mind directly? Like, this is my homeland. It was the Kingdom of
I love.
Sorcery.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, Carla saw the destruction of her homeland being the kingdom of sorcery, and she didn't want Lodoss to have the same fate as I said Asteria. I forgot the name of it, but I know that's what she said.
She did.
Yes.
Parn didn't believe her. I think she was hoping to possess him because she ends up possessing Woodchuck instead. Anywho, but yeah, so that's basically it. Just Carla noticed, probably most likely noticed, because if you remember, Wart is still pissed at her. He's doing his little magic projection like a force ghost. He's asking her, like, is this what you really want? Like, you realize your actions have led to Cardus getting resurrected. And she said, well, I'm willing to gamble that the pawns I'm using are going to stop it from happening. And Wart's like, wait, are you serious? You're willing to risk the literal embodiment of destruction being resurrected because you have a gambit that you're going to win? And, well, she ends up winning. Like Parn stops the ritual, yada, yada. I think she was banking... Huh?
Hold on. Yeah, it was Catstool. That's the name of Carla's country. She saw what happened to the kingdom of Catstool, and she said that she didn't want power to be concentrated to one kingdom. So basically, she decided, no matter who wins, I'm gonna be on top.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if either side won and Cardus manipulated whoever's in charge. Because it was ultimately going to lead to someone wanting the staff is it the staff of domination or rod of domination? The
Staff of domination, yeah.
Giggly.
The what?
The story's big MacGuffin.
Yeah, the MacGuffin. Someone was going to get the MacGuffin, and then get influenced by Cardus, and then the Cardus was going to come back, and Carly. I'm assuming that's what happened to Catstool at some point. Somebody decided, I know better than everybody else, and then a civil war happened. But yeah. Anywho, so you guys jump in because I just, I just thought to explain what Carla's reasoning was.
Yeah.
All right, let me take a stab at it since you were talking everybody's ears off. So remember I mentioned Chaos Dragon, Sekue Seneki, or as it also known, the Red Dragon of Chaos anime from 2015. Yeah, that little thing by 3 people there who did exactly the same thing as what described as, because they literally took their quote-unquote D&D campaign and created all the screens there with the help of, I believe, Studio Silver Link and Connect Studio. Hey, that didn't work well. Has the same exact premise, just with dragons, and has it doesn't have elves, but the point is, why I'm comparing these two, is simple. it shows the difference in how production is different, how people care about small little details about every single thing out there in the show. And if you look at what they've done in 2015 and what they've done in 1990, you get a spot that you know what, that computer animation in general was a big no mistake. You see, Lodoss War might not have a greatest story. Sure, it doesn't, because hey, that's D&D campaign. Name any. But the point is, if you have a staff on the show that actually gives a shit about showing your characters, yeah, they're not the most in-depth thing ever. You're not talking about like Evangelion or, well, whatever other anime is there that has a great story, that has a great characters, but it shows you something that we kind of lost in modern animation, which is giving a shit about final product. The It starts from the basically like a packaging of a product, which is the visual design, all the way to voice acting. And people can say, well, some people watch that in English dub, which hey, my condolences. The original one is impeccable. It's still one of the best dubs I think that I've seen in a while. And the story is basically served by the voice actors portraying the character as best they can. And they might not have the best material to work with in terms of story, but you remember the characters, they're memorable, you know their motivations, it's shown, it not they don't tell you stuff, it just is that thing. And so when you go at the end of the show and you look at where the characters where they start and where they end up as a at the end of it, you're like, yeah, this is a good adventure, which is what the D&D campaign should be in the first place.
You know
So
what? You know what I actually found interesting?
what?
My house did the OVA, but the guys responsible for the animated series was AIC. These are the
Uh-huh.
same people who made oh my god, it's Tenchi Muyo, El Hazard, and Bubblegum Crisis, among others.
Yeah. But
Man,
well, you have to remember the studio. Well, it's not. It means very little because back in those days that meant a lot. But it always meant less because the people not in the studio. Studio is just a production facility, effectively. What matters more is who makes it, why they make it, and how much passion you see in the project. Because you can have Madhouse doing um what is it, Witchblade? And it's like, well, that's the show. Or Madhouse can do a Helsing Ultimate. Well, that's a big freaking difference between those two shows.
I'm guessing it was related to the priorities.
Yeah, I have to I definitely have to agree with you there. It's like we see this like in the video game industry a lot where like there's a studio that like made some like really highly acclaimed games and then like 10 years later they're making they're making slop, right? And it's because the all the people who were making those games are just gone now, and it's a completely different crew of people who might not necessarily even care about the original IPs, and they're like just looking for a job or something.
Well,
Um,
mhm.
this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. So
Well,
yeah, it's what matters is definitely like the people who are making it, and with this it was it was originally based off of the we keep saying this the D&D campaign, and so the guy who the original light novel, it was a light novel, not a
It's like
yeah. The original light novel, there's obviously a lot of passion, and the people and the people working on it in Studio Madhouse at the time, very very clearly had a lot of passion for that light novel. They really liked it a lot, and you can tell.
And here's the thing: people say, "Well, it's only back then. It doesn't happen now." Well, here's an example: Madhouse Studio. They made remember that show Overlord that we mentioned? Yeah. They also make 3 films based on that thing. Is it conveyor belt? Sure. It's still awesome
I gotta hop
because
in, say something before we completely get away from it. What Will just said about Madhouse and comparison to gaming studios. You also have the other situation where Madhouse. We covered this one, the first season of One Punch Man. I love the
Oh,
crap
yeah.
out of that.
actually
Same.
was about to mention that.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
And that
Hold
the
on,
first
Lois.
piece of yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying, first season was amazing, like incredibly. It was so good that it got people who had no idea what One Punch Man was, including myself, to be like, "Holy shit, I got to get into this world." And then season 2 dropped, and I have this one
Oh,
example I
boy.
tell everyone I know about when they say, why did it suck? And I would immediately bring up, oh hey, whether or not I'm the person who brought up the conversation, I want to jump in, and I show them this one scene where one of the like D or E listing heroes was just basically like the equivalent of like a medic or like a cop. She jumps in to help the heroes stop a bomb. Like they're on a train. They stop both the train and the bomb, and then the short chick, the one who's older than her older sister,
Tatsumaki.
yeah, Tatsumaki, who looks younger but is actually older. She shows up and steals the thunder from her sister by grabbing the bomb. And I think she like hurls it away or something. But Tatsumaki's sister is like walking towards the camera with the E-lister, the one who's like the cop basically, and the girl's all like googly eyed, or not googly eyed, like she's all like like big eyes, like oh my god, like I know all about you, and like because
Oh,
the whole thing
so
is
Fubuki gets starstruck. That's what you're saying.
yeah,
Fubuki.
no, hold on. Wait, Kabuki, is that the name of the E-lister, the one
Oh,
who's like
no, Fubuki is the name of her sister.
okay, well yeah, that's not what I was getting at is the E-lister gets all like starstruck, and while they're walking towards the camera, they're just doing an animation of like their feet moving and their body moving, but they're just artificially going up and down. And there's a slideshow behind them, just this non-stop video loop of this poorly drawn background.
Yeah.
And it's just like
So
it looks like a crappy FMV somebody made in the 2000s. Like
No,
AMV,
they pulled that. They pulled a Hanna-Barbera.
oh god.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
thing was, Hanna-Barbera was in the 60s, and this is an AMV quality, thing in the fucking 2010s, and it pissed off people so much that the publisher went and got Madhouse to come back because the publisher wanted to save money. The publisher's like, why should we pay, now that people like One Punch Man, why should we pay Madhouse to do another season? We'll just pay somebody else to do it. And
Yeah, A1 was the one. A1 was the one that did season 2. And guess where that ended up? I was watching the series 2. It was dog water. It was boring as hell. Jesus, dude. Like, I ended up dropping the series after like episode 5. I'm not sure what happened, but I think it was either fatigue or but really, the pacing was pretty bad in season 2.
Yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to
All right.
compared to
Nenny,
season one.
I think
All
Nenny
right,
wants to say something, and then
let me make my point before I interrupt it again.
By the way, we're 5 minutes away from being an hour. Just letting you know.
No shit. So there's this show, right? But there's also something like Freyran, which people crimming themselves over, which is like, okay, I get why, but it's not that good of a show if you watch the whole thing. But you can kind of see in the show like people actually cared about the original material when they were making at least first half of it, and then they're like, oh, we can just not finish it. Good, let's slop it away.
I would have to highly disagree with you there, but
Okay, all you want. And then there's shows like Diamond Ace, which is a moneymaker from, well, it's a baseball show because, hey, Japan, why not? And it has like a bunch of
Dude,
seasons and
dude, you barely said
crazy stuff.
anything, Kermit. You barely said anything, to be honest.
Um,
I don't have much
and
in the way of thoughts.
going back to the visual novels, well, sure, you can have something like Aldemir Over Sky, which is only first season, and they said, yeah, let's make an awesome show, but it didn't sell well. Just like Lodoss War at the at the beginning of it. Hence why they had to make a different show with different freaking studio. So, point being that even if you have a staff that is very passionate, there has to be a selling point. And unfortunately, hence why we didn't see that from Madhouse, the sequel to that Lodoss War thing is because of it. It is a very rare occurrence where something like original TV show they just made from light novel, manga, whatever it can be, is remade by the same studio because it's successful. The only example I can think of is Full Metal Alchemist.
I gotta jump in real quick. I told Hermit this before. I believe Hermit called it. He said it was lightning in the bottle. That's the term we want to use.
Yeah, that's the point. Like,
Hold on,
you
hold
have
on.
to have something there
Yeah, I was gonna
for
say
commercial success
the
and for
creator.
success of,
Yeah, cool. Hold on. We have 3 minutes left.
whatever.
I just need to. This is something that needs to be said about the creator. He said in a recent interview. This was recent. He said that Record of Lodoss War was a crazy, once in a lifetime thing. And when I talked to Hermit, Hermit's like, "Oh, lightning in the bottle." The show that we just watched was lightning in a bottle because the production and everything, the directing, production, the animation studio, it all came together like well. And the thing is, as you just said, that didn't repeat itself. In fact, I believe one of their projects, their producer, one of the main producers, got arrested in the middle of production, so they had to do things low budget for the other. I forgot which one it was, but it was one of the Lodoss offshoots.
Yeah, the one that followed the TV series.
Wait, was he also arrested for the same thing than Rurouni Kenshin guy was arrested for?
No. I'm thinking this guy had like links to shady business, which is a thing that
Or tax evasion.
Yeah, tax evasion. Anyways, so listen, we have a minute and a half left. I want you guys to give me your final thoughts before I shut off the stream.
Okay, rapid fire. The people who ended up dubbing this show in the English, well, guess where they ended up working? 4Kids Entertainment. Yeah.
Oh god.
You have Lisa Ortiz, who was the voice of Lena Inverse in Slayers, and now guess where she ended up? She was basically one of the voices of Amy in Sonic.
Oh no.
Yes, she was.
Oh god.
Oh god. Cry me a river, dude. Cry me a river.
Oh god. Oh man. Oh god. Oh man. Oh god.
Yeah, okay. So as soon as you said 4Kids, whenever I hear 4Kids, I just think of the One Piece rap. Gotta go.
No. And then you have Eto's voice actor, who was Ted Lewis, the guy voiced Tracy in Pokemon. He was also one of the he was also in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He voiced what was the name of the blue hair kid in that one? He was Jaden's friend. I forgot about him.
Yep.
But
so, yeah, you just keep going, and then the rest of you jump in whenever, because we have.
And then
Hey,
Yeah,
Ash, here's a burger for you.
this was back when Central Park Media was a thing because the show was dubbed in New York.
Oh,
Uh, basically, yeah, in your neck of the woods.
yes.
Here's what happened. Central Park Media and U.S. Manga Corp were in the same place, and they ended up hiring a lot of the same voice actors. Anyway, it wasn't until a couple of years later when Funimation ended up distributing the series to the States. So after Central Park Media went out, well, let's just say that Sony, now formerly Crunchyroll, sorry, Funimation was the one that now has the license, and even then, the license, who owns it now? Sony. That's the cook part.
Yeah, no. I honestly would love more Lodoss, but if they did it, they probably base it off the more recent manga. Anyways, all right. So we are a 1 minute over an hour. Anybody
Man,
want to
that's
throw something in before we say goodbye?
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to say that this show, it's it's really just something you want to check out if you're like really into high fantasy stuff, and you're especially really into a lot of Japanese high fantasy stuff. And I think and you can't get enough of it and you want more. It's just a very solid choice. It's a very similar to a lot of stuff you've and it's very similar to a lot of stuff that you already like. So yeah.
I found it interesting that they ended up leaving okay. So RJ, I this one is more you because you're really into Gundam and
Yeah,
Guilty Gear. Guess what?
me and
Yeah,
Herman and I are both into Gundam. He's into BlazBlue. I'm into Guilty Gear. Go ahead.
yeah. Get a look at this. Takeshi Kusao, the man who voiced Farm in the or in the OVA. Guess who also he voices? He voices Kai Kisuke in Guilty Gear. All the iterations of Guilty Gear. Say with Trunks in Dragon Ball. Yeah. He's actually the voice of both.
Holy shit! You want to know something funny about that?
Yeah.
Madhouse also animated the. They had a short 3-minute OVA, very short. It was only, I think it was 3 minutes. It came with the original. I think it was the Xbox version. I can't remember. It was Guilty Gear XX. It had this animation that was called Guilty Gear Zex, which just had the X on it, and it had like the story of Guilty Gear, and Madhouse animated it, and they have this ongoing joke about Kai Kisuke falling off a ledge, saying, "I'm falling," and like it's funny that he's the one that voices Kai Kisuke in the game.
Yeah. And then the chick who voiced Diglett in the Japanese one, that would be Yumi Toma. She in this case I played a lot of Tekken. Okay, she voiced Jun Kazama and Fortune in Metal Gear Solid 2.
What the heck?
Oh, wow.
Yes, that Fortune.
So she also is the mother of the main character of Tekken 3.
Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yes, sir. She also voiced Leifang too in Dead or Alive. Fucking hell.
Well, Dietlitz's voice actress went on to do other notable roles. Anywho, I'm just gonna give us like 1 more minute because we're about 4 minutes over.
Yeah.
Round it off to a nice 5 minutes. So wrap up some thoughts and then we say goodbye.
Well,
let's just say goodbye.
Go watch it. Go watch it.
yeah.
Pretty much just go watch it. It's good.
And
You-
go
you
play
like
video
the
game.
style, it's good.
Yeah,
If
and
you-
go play Steam game because it's awesome as well.
Okay,
Hold up. If you like CRPGs, the Dreamcast game isn't half bad either. But yeah, now we have 30 seconds, so let's just call it a night. Oh, one other thing. We're going to have a summer fighting game tournament for Cyberbots with Thundaria. I will post about that on our Facebook page. But yeah, you guys give your goodbyes because we're about to head off.
All right. Good night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Have a nice
Good
summer.
night.
Take care of yourselves.
All right. I will say my goodbyes as well. I hope everybody has a wonderful summer. See you guys at the fighting game tournament, and hopefully with our fall season, or no, our summer season episode before we do fall and winter. But yeah, take care, everybody.